Windows and doors have represented a major source of unwanted heat loss, discomfort, and condensation problems. But in recent years, windows have undergone a tremendous technological revolution. In fact, today, it is possible to have window surfaces that not only improve comfort, but window efficiency will help save you money in the long run. Upgrading to energy-efficient windows and doors can save homeowners hundreds of dollars each year in heating and cooling costs. So today on Built to Last, it's all about windows and doors.
Built to Last is sponsored by Unico Incorporated, manufacturers of the small duct high velocity HVAC Unico system. Unico is dedicated to the environment and has been serving residential and commercial customers around the corner and around the globe for more than 25 years.
Great Northern Lumber, providing green construction materials from skyscrapers to residential remodel. Proud to serve you for the last 27 years and into the future in the lumber industry.
When I first started, we did all this in the job, on the job. And that's not that long ago. Not as far as I feel. Like 38 years ago, it was all done right on the job. Everything was applied, all the machining was done on the job, and we all did it for each building that we were on. So there was just generally a lead guy that did all the door swinging, all the door hinging. He was the foreman of the trim crew. He was the lead man, the smart man, the most, probably the most knowledgeable on that crew. And all these doors were hung and mortised and done right on the job site. As time's progressed, it's moved to factories. Now they send them out pre-nailed, the hinges pre-mortised, stops pre-applied, but you still have to install the door the same way. It still has to be put in and shimmed properly, 10 positions, nailed properly. The clearances have to be there. You have to make sure that it's installed that way so that the door operates for a long length of time. It takes a skilled, qualified carpenter to hang a door. Basic carpentry, everything we build should be plumb, level, and square. When you install a door, the basics of carpentry still apply because the door has to be plumb, level, and square. If it's not plumb, level, and square, the door is not going to work properly. It might just open itself. It might not close right. Back 100 years ago, it was all done by hand because the power tools weren't there. So now we do it. As times progressed, things changed. We went from power tools to somewhat automated tools to now almost all power tools for hanging these hinges. But still, you have to have the proper tolerances and clearances to make that door work properly, no different than 100 years ago as it is now. The importance of hanging the door this way, as I did before, is we teach this at the school here so that the guys understand the workings of a door and why it's put together the way it is. With the basic understanding of that, it makes a better installation of the door. They'll know how to put the door in the proper way because they know that it's put together properly, and they can use their knowledge of what they learn here at the school to properly install that door so it lasts for a long time. Nowadays, the doors are sent out from a mill, already hinged with the stops applied and the jamb put together, and you just simply install the door and shim it to place and set it level, plumb and square. And even in historic restoration buildings, if you're going to restore an old building or a historical marker, you might have to use hand techniques to go back to putting the hinges back in the way they were because they don't fit the template models. Depending on what carpenter put the hinges and hung that door, you might have to try to match what he had done.
For From a single pane of glass that was placed and set with glazing putty to the double and triple paned windows of today, modern technology has evolved the science of windows, creating the most technological advancements in the building industry.
One of the really exciting things in Windows is for decades, Windows have been basically the same, either a single pane or maybe a double pane. That's been around for a long time, a double pane window. And a few enhancements to those double panes gave them improved energy performance. It's one of the joys of the Energy Star program, which many people are familiar with. It's tremendous. It's always been attempting to push forward the performance of a variety of products, including Windows. One of the things which has happened in the last few years is the emergence of much higher performance Windows than even Energy Star requires. And I'll give you an example of one right here. This is a new technology. Actually, this looks very much like a regular window. If you're looking at it right here, it is in fact just a regular window. It'll sit in your house. Various manufacturers make it in different colors. We make it in a variety. What's really fun about it, though, is if you look at it from this angle, and you may or may not be able to see this. Can you see it from where you're standing? There is actually a third pane suspended in here, but it's not a pane of glass. It's a suspended film. It's a plastic film. And what that does is it provides two air pockets rather than just the one in this space. And that produces a great improvement in the insulating value of this device.
Windows have evolved from the single pane to a double non-insulated pane of glass to a dual insulated airtight piece of glass. Dual pane windows have also incorporated a low E coating in between the glass. A triple pane of glass contains the dual low E insulated glass and a third pane of glass to give you the highest available efficiency you can in a window or door. What it used to incorporate was a dead airspace in between two panes of glass. That gave you an insulation factor, but with the glasses today, with the different types of gas that are used in between the panes, gives you a higher U value these days than it used to.
We don't make stock sizes, everything just one size. It's whatever opening in a home or whatever a architect or any contractor requires of any size. We make it, we optimize, and all those different sizes in each production schedule goes to a computer and then sends that information directly to this machine, which optimizes our glass to get us the best possible yield. And the glass will fall onto the table, the machine will score it, and then break it out here and put into the carts here, ready for the next step for the insulating process. You know, the computer and the monitor will tell them exactly what slot to put it in the rack, because it'll cut it in an optimized sequence. Once a rack or a batch is complete, it then goes to the next step in the process in actually the customer and production sequence. The next step for our insulating glass process is all of our glass has to go through a washer, so it is washed completely clean and then completely dry through this machine. There can't be any debris, any oils, anything on the glass comes in contact with the glass before our airspace is put on the glass. Our glass comes through the washer. We're going to put an airspace on the first piece of glass, while the other associated piece of glass goes behind them on another conveyor. It will send the glass down the line. The machine at this end will automatically collapse and then come together to bring both pieces of glass to perfectly square, dimensionally together, and then back up horizontally to go through the next step of the oven. Now our glass will then conveyor down to the end. Then we're going to take a right turn and go through this oven here, which we want to heat up the sealant around the air spacer. And then once that's heated up, we're going to press it through a roll press to really squeeze it down and create that permanent seal with our insulating glass. We want to cool it off somewhat gently because what we're going to do after that, we're actually going to inject gas in between the dual pane unit. And we want to do that closest to ambient temperature as possible. We have various different mixtures of gas, argon and krypton. The purpose of that is to remove the oxygen with a much heavier gas to increase its R value. This machine will automatically puts gas and does all the filling here. Then once the gas fill is complete, they will take out the lance for the gas and then quickly seal it back up to where gas cannot escape that insulated unit and stays there for forever. A lot of contractor and customer specifications are to have grills put in for glass for aesthetic reasons. We actually, between the airspace, we fabricate and put grids in between the glass. Obviously, it's a lot lower maintenance, but still gives you the aesthetic value that customers and contractors want. What we have here is the final assembly of one of our new construction products. It is a sound control product, an acoustical product that we find very, very popular and a lot of demand for a lot of multifamily developments in the new construction marketplace. These windows primarily are used in applications out west, so we actually make here and send out west, and now becoming more popular in many other regions in the United States. Once our windows are assembled, they're cleaned and tested for operation and quality inspected. Then we label them and wrap them on a machine, packaged, ready to go on a truck to ship to our customers.
Proper installation along with manufacturer specifications allow for 100% product performance. Improper installation, however, will void all of these warranties, causing product and structural failure. So make sure your windows are installed by qualified, skilled, and trained carpenters.
Well, there's a variety of reasons why you'd want to have a house wrap professionally installed on your home. But the three major is, one is to keep your wall system dry, to keep rain or any kind of bulk water from getting behind your siding and getting into your wall system. Second is to keep air infiltration. You don't want air currents coming through your walls. It creates an uncomfortable environment in the house. And third is energy efficiency. Having a house wrap helps your insulation to perform at its highest rating. Think of it this way. If you were outside on a cold day, 40 degrees let's say, but there was no wind and you had a nice sweatshirt on, you'd feel pretty comfortable. However, if the wind kicked up, pretty soon that sweatshirt isn't working as well. And then, if it started to rain, now you're wet, the wind is blowing, and it's 40 degrees, you're cold. A house wrap works a lot like a windbreaker. It stops the air from blowing onto your insulation, robbing of its R value. It stops the wall system from getting wet and allows you to stay comfortable. What you want to look for in a professional house wrap is its ability to drain. You want water to drain down. If it gets behind the cladding, you want it to be able to drain down without getting into your wall assembly. You want it to be able to dry. If water does get into your wall system, and it does, it can get in through penetrations from air conditionings and plumbing. It can also come from inside the house, showers, fish tanks. We as humans, we emit water vapor. So you want to let that give it the ability to dry from the inside out. Also, you want the product to be very durable. The riggers on the job site are very, very tough, and you want to make sure you have something that doesn't rip, scrape, or become compromised easily.
The first step of installation is cutting the exterior barrier. Unlike what we've done in the past, is actually cut a big X in here. Now we've actually doing our eye cut. You start at the bottom, cut all the way across. Then you come in the center, cut all the way up, cut all the way across again at the head. Now we make our 2 eye cuts up here. The Tyvek along the jambs gets folded in. And your eye cuts gets folded up. This tape at the bottom actually covers your rough opening and actually protects your rough opening from any sort of water infiltration. The first piece of tape starts 6 inches up on either side and overlaps the exterior by 1 inch. Now once your 1 inch overlap, which is right here, you make 2 tabs on either side and you pull these down. Now your sill pan is in place to protect your rough opening. The next step is taking 2 shims. Shims are needed at the sill for a water collection place to make sure the window is level and to allow for the water to evaporate towards the exterior. Now you're ready to install the window. The fins actually get pulled out to 90 degrees. These fins are actually what gets attached to your sheathing. Once the window is installed, you're going to put 1 screw or nail up on the top right corner, and then you're going to check for square. Square is the most important thing when it comes to window for installation because of operation. Then you cut 2 more pieces of tape, which is going to adhere to the window fin, then adhere to your exterior barrier. You're actually integrating the window now into your exterior system. Now you're going to cut 1 more piece of smart flash tape that's going to go across the head. As you can see, we still have this flap that's up that we cut the Tyvek. We're actually going to put the piece of tape across the fin and onto the sheathing. This creates a watershed method. And use 2 pieces of smart flash tape on the corners. The next step is the interior sealant, which is a low expansion for windows and doors interior foam. This interior foam only needs to be a 1 inch deep bead on all 4 sides of the window. Once you have put your interior sealant on all 4 sides of the window, your installation is complete.
Not all installations are the same. In the field, there are always more factors that require expertise to make sure the job is done right.
Steel door will hold better into the up with the weather. It's not going to expand and contract like the wood will. If it's exposed to both elements in the winter time, when the forced heat's in, it dries up that and it shrinks it up, and you're going to have leaks in the door. Where with the steel secure insulated door, you don't have that. They've got a threshold on it, to keep any wind from coming through or weather on the bottom, so the door can get sealed up. For on these doors, they're going to come out. This one's straight from the factory, and what we're looking to do when we're installing the door is maintain the margins that are all the way around the door. We want them all equal, so they all look the same. No wide gaps, no narrow gaps. As long as they maintain the same all the way through, we're going to get the best seal on the door. Well, for how this door's coming out, we're tighter at the bottom. We've got a bigger gap up top. Once the door's set in the jamb, we're gonna have to do some shimming to correct it. It's basically some cedar shims that we're just using because they're easy to cut, they maintain. When we're gonna shim up against the jamb by each hinge, so it does. We're gonna make that tight back to our stud cripple, so the door can't move from that point. So as long as it's plumb and true, it's gonna stay there. Well, when we're shimming these doors, we want to go with when you look at the hinge, once you open up the door, there's going to be two basic rolls of screws. You want to take the one closest to the outside edge of the door, because that's going to give you the fullest into your jamb when you run a longer screw through. So we'll pull one of these short screws out, and we're going to replace it with a 2.5-inch screw that is going to be able to secure it to the actual stud cripple framing of the house. When you're looking to purchase your door, if you are, to determine what hand you have, basically when you look at the door, you've got your handle side, your hinge side, you're going to put your back up against the hinge side. So whatever hand goes for the handle, that should be what swing door you have. But there are companies that look at the handle side and tell you that that's what side. So the way I just checked it, this is a right-hand swing door. There are companies out there that look at the handle side and is going to call it a left hand. Just make sure if you do go to purchase it, you know if you checked it like that, explain it to the salesperson so you can get the right door. After we install it, the painter will, take and he'll have to paint the jamb, the door itself. At that point, the hardware that's going to be on it, the door handles and stuff, will be installed.
What we like to do is steer them toward the entire door from start to finish. So they'll come in for, outside door hardware, but they don't know at that time they're going to need the door closure and the kick plate, and for the inside hardware, the door bumpers and ball catches and maybe hinge pins, definitely hinges. Primarily the most significant changes in the last 15 years have been with the finishes. It used to be that they used to be a brass or a type of brass, like an antique brass or satin brass, and people mostly bought brass a while back. Then we came upon nickel, and in the last 10 years, nickel has been very popular, both the satin nickel and polished nickel. Now, we are really selling a lot of bronze because most of them are hand-forged, handmade, and there's a variety of different bronzes that are made. This is the sectional, opens and closes. This works separately here as more or less a passage set. It doesn't lock at all. This, I believe, is the mortise lock, where you can lock it, and it locks both places, inside and out. So this will always stay locked or always be unlocked, whichever way you want to press these buttons here. 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was but a handful of hardware to choose from. big companies, major companies, would be the only people selling the hardware to businesses like ours. Now there are boutique, artsy, artistic hardware sales, and people who are doing this out of their homes, out of their garages, and making a big living selling unique hardware, specialty hardware.
Today, more than ever, there are a variety of windows and doors to choose from, but keep in mind their one common purpose: to save energy. That benchmark continues to climb higher and higher with every new product and development breakthrough, along with builders demanding reliable, appealing, and energy-efficient components for the buildings of today and the ones yet to come. I'm Jana Peterson. Thanks for watching Built to Last.
Visit the Built to Last website to learn about these topics and more.
Built to Last is sponsored by Unico Incorporated, manufacturers of the small duct high-velocity HVAC Unico system. Unico is dedicated to the environment and has been serving residential and commercial customers around the corner and around the globe for more than 25 years.
Great Northern Lumber, providing green construction materials from skyscrapers to residential remodel. Proud to serve you for the last 27 years and into the future in the lumber industry.